Hi, this is Sahana here. Welcome to Econoshield, a panacea for Indian investors' dilemma. This app is specially built to help Indian investors. In today's world, economies of various countries are facing a downturn, thereby negatively impacting the world's economy as a whole. EconoShield will help Indian investors understand how each sector is impacted so that they know which sector to invest in. So I developed EconoShield using the technology Streamlit, which facilitates rapid web development in Python. In order to build EconoShield, I first downloaded sectoral indices for the past 15 years from Nifty's website. Nifty is also known as Indian Stock Exchange. Sectoral indices include media, IT, oil and gas, metal, banks, financial services, and other such similar sectors. Then I scooped the GDP data for all countries from IMF's website. Lastly, I ran a simple lasso regression to determine the impact of other countries' GDP on our sectoral indices. Now let's start the demo of the model. So we see that United States, United Kingdom, and China are the three major countries which are three major trade partners of India. So we'll first see what happens if GDP of US changes by 4%. We see that a tab United States is automatically created here. So when US GDP changes, so banks, financial services, consumer durables, private banks, and other such similar sectors are affected when US GDP changes by 4%. So we see that the blue line represents the US GDP curve. So we see that online oil and gas. So oil and gas is roughly correlated with the GDP curve of the US. The pattern is almost same. Then we see FMCG, which is highly correlated with the US GDP curve. Then we see private bank, which is also almost correlated with the US GDP curve pattern. And then lastly, we'll see bank. So then we also see that bank is also highly correlated with the US GDP curve. So how does the model do this? So like the model picks up correlation and quantifies the impact of the country's GDP. Here we have chosen our country is US, so US's GDP on our sectors. So after the so the model is able to show all of these curves for us and all those percentage values and that how the sectors are affected here. So next we go to United Kingdom. Say the United Kingdom's GDP decreases by 3%. So we see that the tab United Kingdom is created here automatically. So then we'll see what sectors are affected here. So here mid small IT and telecom. Here infra is infrastructure, pharma, healthcare, and many such sectors are affected here. And then let's jump to the graph. So here we see the graph like how many sectors does UK affects. So the blue line again represents the UK's GDP curve. Then we see just a few of the sectors here. So we see that consumer durables is kind of related with the UK's GDP curve. Then we see infra, the pattern is almost same here. Then at last we'll see metals. So metals, the initially the curve is not that related, but as it proceeds, it just the pattern matches with the UK's GDP curve. So at last we'll go to the China's GDP curve. I mean China's GDP changes. So imagine if China's GDP increases by 3%. So here we see a tab China is created automatically. So here IT, mid-small healthcare, IT and telecom, consumer durables, and many such sectors are affected here again. So the blue line represents China GDP curve. So let's see with pharma. The pharma curve is roughly related with China's GDP curve. Then we see financial services. The pattern is almost same with the China's GDP curve. And at last we'll see healthcare maybe. So the healthcare curve is not that much, but like roughly correlated with the pattern of China's GDP curve. So, my model is an humble attempt to help investors in India. So, Econoshield will help investors to design a better portfolio that will withstand the global economic turmoil. For this tool to be scaled, a much deeper analysis of global economy is needed. Given the fact that a lot of governments have prioritized data collection, I really hope that my vision will come true in a very short span of time. Thank you.